slapped and just get on with it and don't worry about it. Into the next one and see how they can deliver here. All I know is if Lost One pull and swing things back here hard, Oregon is going to be unbelievable fun.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely wild. But yeah, the question that we're looking at now, the thing to focus on at home, you know, is how do Lost One particularly perform in the 1v1s? How do they perform in the gunfights? How much effect does that last game have on them versus what sort of resilience do they show? Can they just write it off? Can they just ignore it? Can they just, you know, move on from it? That's what we're going to see over the next few rounds, and one of the ways to watch for that is, you know, the confidence in the gunfights, and are they taking the gunfights? Are they the aggressors? Are they being aggressed on too? You know, and the Wolves continue the pace that they've shown us. Now, the bans have come in. We've got Ying, Nomad, Azami, and Mirror. Nomad being the one that stands out there. Again, just speaking towards maybe a slightly more aggressive game for Lost One here. They're the ones that have taken the ban onto the Nomad, so you know, maybe just signalling that they want to get out on the roam. They want that freedom to move around. And Wolves, they need to pay attention to that ban.
As much as we stress that this is the favourite map of Lost One, Wolves are no slouches on it either. They are currently on a 4-win streak over the last few months, beating Liquid, Direwolves twice on it. They beat Koi here as well in Stage 3. They don't look bad. What I find interesting is how the ban strategy has changed, where normally they ban away Nook and Valkyrie, and pretty much exclusively in every single one of those games. Here, Valkyrie's been let through by both teams, and the Nook, of course, is still available. So wouldn't be surprised to see that being brought along for a couple of rounds as we progress through, especially by the side of Wolves. On the attacking side, no nasty surprises here waiting just yet, and Wolves understandably going to make good use of the Solars because it was so effective for them back in the last map.
Let's get this one underway then. We move into the action phase of round one. It's going to be Aviator Games for the first defense of Wolves as they try to close this upper bracket game out in 2 maps against Lost One, and it will of course propel them forwards into an upper bracket semi-final, which would be huge given the start that we saw them have in groups. They really are showing us that they're on form today. The luck of Siege has been with them as well. There was a couple of moments, but you really can't deny them that after the performance that they've just shown. Lost One, they're on their map pick, it's Villa, and we'll see if they can show us something a little bit better.
So starting things out here, you've got 3 players straight away up on this north to northeast side of the building. You've got Dash down towards the south, so a real spread coming out so far from the side of Lost One, either looking to pincer in or figure out where the armor is a little bit weak and to find their way forwards. It is this Aviator Games hit, the most primary defensive site that we have available on this map. We've got Dash, as you can see, working off inside of Art Studio, trying to remove any players below. Wouldn't be too surprised if they're trying to set up a nade play here from Maya on the downstairs, which will mean at some point he needs to kind of double up with Dash and work through this. Also worth stressing, I know that like Twitch has always been seen as the big, like, you know, big fragging operator. The F2's a demon of a gun. It did get nerfed recently, but then almost as compensation, she got given 2 normal drones. So in reality, Twitch is an info machine right now that can also take out any soft gadgets. 2 shock drones, 2 normal drones, lots of information available to the whole team.
Lost One have gone through a serious information gathering phase, and they're using it fantastically as Maya steps in and gets the opening kill onto Mowgli. It gives a little bit of hope for those Lost One fans early in the round. Lobin just runs into sight, manages to find one, and maybe this gives us an idea of the sort of gameplay we're going to see coming out of Lost One. But Wolves, they stand up to it, Des. Bibu's managed to get a double. It's 3 versus 2, 1 minute 10 left on the clock, and I get the feeling that Lost One, they're going to have to take the foot off the gas pedal. But no, Rise has just walked inside a sight. Dash manages to find P4 downstairs, 2v2.
Still with 60 seconds to play as well. There's far from a rush on this one, but the thing is the diffuser's down and outside 90. Dash gonna have to work his way in through the downstairs. Rise has found one. I really feel here like they need to make a call. Either stack up together and go for kills or play for the diffuser. Either works, but Rise says, I don't need a plan, Des. I can just get them both by myself. Closes out round 1 and already a stark contrast to what we saw back on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think Lost One desperately needed that round, to be honest. Like you say, the Clubhouse map, they were dominated on. It was clear that Wolves were the superior team on that map, and I think that round for them just cements it in their head that map 1 was Clubhouse. It was map 1. That's what's done it. We're not great at playing there. We're back on our turf, and now we can start to pay a little bit back. And I think it really just cements that for them. Probably gives them a lot of confidence that, you know, this is not because as players they're so much better than us. This is just, it was situational. Let's get back to business.
Interestingly, rather than a repeat on Aviator as well, we're going up to trophy and stat tree here in round 2. So Wolves wanting to try something a little bit different. We're not going to see one of our favourites, Tim, the Alimal setup here that GC so often employ, playing around a soft wall on the triple wall and looking to dance in and out of the rotation to challenge in towards bathroom. Here, going for a much more standard style of setup, where they're reinforcing off that triple wall. They're looking to drop down a couple of Banshees around as well to warn them when attackers are approaching. And for the large part, it feels like quite a dug-in style of setup. For now, they have sort of jetted off around the site. You've got P4 working his way around main stairs. Would expect to see at least a couple of players start on the south side and waste time around studying main stairs, and then move their way back as the pressure begins to build.
Dash going straight in towards main door. Going to support the spearhead of that push potentially. I think they're happy enough now that they're not going to be challenged on the windows, so Lost One will be starting to focus their way inside. Now, last time around we saw them use the first half of the round pretty much exclusively for gathering information. There was a lot of drone work, and then they put it to fantastic use. Wolves almost able to stand up to it, but ultimately Lost One's aggression just washed over them a little bit, I think, and here we go. They're going for more of it. Lobin goes in, gets cut down. Can Dash do any better? He picks up the diffuser on his way through. He manages to catch the man out inside of Astro, and that leaves us 4 versus 4. But Bibu, he cuts down Dash, and this attack seems to have fallen apart a little bit. But no, Dots, he's inside a side, Des.
You know that he's here as well, though, and here we go. Maya finds one for himself. It's trade after trade after trade between these two teams. Really good team play coming out from both, and yet again, Tim, we find ourselves in a 2v2, where Rise is still standing. His only 2 kills so far have come in that 2 versus 2 where he collected both to win the round convincingly for his team. Can he do it again?
I think Lost One have obviously decided the game plan here is fast and frenzied. Get your way in and find those gunfights. They really want to take it to Wolves, but maybe it's not panning out so well. Rise, he's the last one alive. He's in a 1v2. He's got all the time in the world. There's plenty of drones, 5 left on the field, so he may be able to get some information fed back to him, but he's going to have to find 2 successful gunfights if he wants to win this.
He's in no real rush here as well. Got a bit of utility he can play behind in the form of the call, and hopefully that gives him some idea as to what's going on. Maybe drones nearby picking it up, but simply not going to help out. Bibu with a nasty little shot shuts him out the round, and Wolves get themselves on the board.
I'm a little bit concerned for Lost One. Their entire game plan, Diaz, cannot be let's just run into sight every round. You know, they give it a minute, see where everybody is, and then bang, they're inside a sight trying to get kills. It is not going to work every single time. Wolves are a smart team. You know, they've got some of our most experienced players in the game. They've been around the block. They know what's what. And they're not going to start falling for that over and over again. They got away with it in round 1. It's not worked in round 2. I'd like to see Lost One show us something else here on Villa, because I'm sure they've got plenty of other plans.
You know what I've just remembered about Wolves on Villa? Bibu, no!
It did happen on Villa, yeah. He was running in through master bedroom.
He was indeed. I think it was Shepard diffusing. I want to say it was that long ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shepard was diffusing and Bibu took too long to get in.
It took too long to get in.
You decried at the very end of the round. Bibu, no!
I think was it something like, I can't remember exactly. It was something. It was Bibu in a 1v3 or something, and he got a couple of the kills and just needed to get the person off the diffuser.
Yeah, but held outside too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times, good
classic,
times.
Another classic line.
We've had some good ones on this map. We had Bath Bomb from Sloth.
You did, yeah.
Came in.
You did. I've used that as an example a few times to people.
We've actually had a good few little fun ones on Villa. It's one of those maps that sort of brings about the joy.
For anybody who didn't see that, that was Sloth, currently of Heroic, of course, just hiding inside the bathtub. And a nade was thrown in on him, and Des screamed, "There's your bath bomb."
Good night, I think I said straight after as well.
Yeah,
and sure enough, he did.
He did die.
And then you said, "Is the only thing bubbling out of here is Sloth's life?" And I was like, "That's a bit morbid."
It was.
It was great.
Speak only the truth, Des.
Only the truth, Tim. Shinka, let's speak some more truths. Holding down towards main stairs before doubling back in towards site. Here looking to use these vertical angles to challenge anyone trying to work in below. Has Bibu helping out from below, though? Has the ability to adapt and react whenever they hear where the aggression is coming from. Interestingly, on that Malusi out on the roam, I know we keep on speaking about it, but being a 1-speed, she's nowhere near as fast as she used to be, and also far noisier when she comes running back towards site.
Okay, there's not too much south-sided pressure at the minute, much as we saw
Oh, we got top down, I didn't realise.
Yeah, we've got everything here,
Damn.
it's mostly coming from the north side. We're on board with Lobin at the minute, who's looking to get something going inside 90 corridor. Going to be supported by Dots, who gets himself onto that 90 window. And as you can see, Lobin just coming around there. Dots is going to try to open up the vault at range. This is going pretty well so far. 1 minute 30, and lost one this time, not just running into sight. This is what I wanted to see. Let's go back, to some proper Villa play, and that's what we see.
Yeah, just trying to cut out below as well, again, to stop, I think, Wolves getting downstairs and trying to make use of things like C4s, impacts, whatever it might be to deny the plant when it does eventually look to come through. It's a good idea to start priming things at the very least, but it is a couple of rounds in a row now. We've seen Dash sort of off doing his own thing, either on the Twitch, holding off on flank watch in study, or working in below. Mowgli strikes first, down goes Maya.
Mowgli's still going to be holding the position inside of study. Can't be allowed to get away with that, and isn't, as Dots manages to get in, trades out Dash, and that's going to leave us now in a 4 versus 2, actually. There's a couple of kills coming quite quickly for Wolves there. P4 managing to take down Lobin, and that leaves us now with Raz and Dots. They've got it all to do. They've got access into the vault. 45 seconds left to go, though, and you're feeling pretty good for Wolves right now.
And they managed to deny away this wall yet again as Shinka picks up another. There's only one remaining. His name is Rise. Somehow I don't think he's rising to the occasion. He'll find himself a kill to pad out the KD, but on 1 HP, it's a single bullet, and he'll be in an early grave. 3 left standing for the side of Wolves. Really not a lot of work to do as the diffuser is also cold on the ground inside the hallway. One last call, phone home, say your prayers, say goodbye, because this round looks to be done.
He's going to be moving through, just trying to switch up his angles, heading into Map's door, but it's unlikely as the challenge comes in. He's an absolute breath away. It's Rice to take him down, and that is going to be another round going to Wolves. Now, we would expect them to take a majority potentially on a defensive half of Villa. 3-3 is the absolute minimum, 4-2 or better is the aim, I would suggest. Wolves are 2-1 after the first rotation of 3 sites, so a pretty good start for them. Lost one. I feel like, again, just struggling for an identity here.
They did, but they also played AVG twice. So now they have to go through to an offside, which will be dining and kitchen, where we could sit at 2-2. So they're breaking up the lovely conversation like having about quarters and timeouts at the end of 3 rounds. We're not getting that here. They're slightly fractured things apart. I do somewhat agree with you about Lost One's sort of identity here as well, right? Like, we've seen a couple of, I don't want to call them rush rounds, but very hard committed. We're going
honestly, I think they were. I think that's probably the best way. They weren't in the first 20 seconds of the round, maybe, but
yeah, that's why I kind of stopped short of calling it a rush, because it wasn't like a go-to classic rush, but it was a very fast-paced execute where they tried to take ground very quickly by winning gunfights rather than worrying about playing behind utility, and they paid the price for it once or twice. For the side of Wolves, they seem to have done pretty well in holding down quite firm. How this site goes will be the big teller to me, though, because they've already lost AVG once. We saw them win the other 2 sites. They went back to AVG the third time round, won it there, won trophy and statuary. If they win down here, it does kind of show that maybe that first AVG loss was being caught off guard by Lost One, but outside of that, they are in full control.
Yeah, I feel like, Wolves have been fairly happy to stick to their game so far. Lost One, like I say, without, those aggressive plays working out consistently. I look at round 3 particularly, and I just think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the next plan is. I'm not sure what the backup is at this point. Hopefully, they show us it, because over the last few days, we've really grown to enjoy watching this team. We've been very positive and supportive of them, but it just looks like, and I've said this a few times, every team will have bad days at tournaments like this, and it's just looking like this might be Lost Ones. The question is, how do you recover from it? How do you perform during it? And can you overcome it without a loss? Those are the championship winning teams usually.
They didn't really get very much open here. It's been impacted off, so just the one, which is actually quite ideal in a way for Wolves to be able to challenge back through on this triple wall. I think narrowly missed the drone there, just dancing.
I think it just came in and moved around.
Just taking it out there as well. Gone down to 5 now on the side of the attackers. So for Wolves, they've done a good job in trying to deny this wall away. There's only really one Selma left on side that can do any real impact for them, but they've already found themselves losing Lobin here, who again is having a terrible time, and it's a jump out on Villa. Don't see that every day.
It's a long way back inside the map, put it that way, but I just don't think Lost One are in a position to be able to challenge Mowgli. Dots is going to take a lot of damage as well as he tries to get onto the Astro Stairs. I think looking for the returning Mowgli, he is going to find the kill on him, but he's going to take a lot of damage in doing so. However, Maya on fantastic cover there before P4 manages to take down Dash, and that leaves us in a 3v2.
Again, as a reminder, this is even the site we're looking at here as well. Had a perfectly lined up headshot, but Bibu sitting around library as he was back on the Malusi previously, helping out his team where required. Very similar to the role that Benja played against Koi back on day one, interestingly. Just able to float and join the team where best required. Dots left all alone, has 2 Otter Shields in back pocket, but I'm afraid they aren't going to be too much use here against both Bibu and Shinka.
This is exhausting to watch at the minute, Des. It's just absolute, like you say, craziness all around the map, everywhere but the site quite often. We're going to have Dots just taking out the default cam and the frost mats. He doesn't need anything distracting him at this point. He's got a lot of work to do. He can't move in through that fire. Needs to be very careful. He is low health. But unfortunately for him, the Wolves players are just watching their angles here. It's unlikely that he gets both. Nope, walks into the crossfire. And that is going to be a final kill for Wolves. They take round 4, and that leaves them 3-1 up, and they are starting to hit cruise control at this point.
I really love the team play we're seeing coming out of them. You know, throughout this week, that's been a bit fragmented. We've seen players taking 1v1s. We've seen really badly whiff gunfights. I know P4 has really drawn a lot of iron flack for how some of his plays have come about, but in this game, I know it's not really P4 that was celebrating it, it's the other players that have been doing incredibly well, but there's not too much you can fault. And what I love is that going into a second map, it's a different player that's shining. It's Bibu this time at 7-1. The others still doing all that they need to, but everything is about him right now.
I'm going to bring up the entry kills. Again, we spoke about them on Clubhouse. It was an area of the game that Wolves absolutely excelled in. And unfortunately for Lost One fans, it's an area that they are continuing to dominate. Out of 4 rounds so far, it is 3-1 in favour of Wolves on the entry. And unsurprisingly, it's the last 3 rounds that they've picked up those entry kills. When Wolves get the entry kill, they tend to go on and take the round. That's what we're seeing over the last couple of maps. And Lost One just don't seem to have a consistent answer to that.
They don't know. It's that thing they've got to find an answer to. They've got to find a way through this first half to at least come out in some kind of fighting shape before they switch over to the defense. Because if I think of anything about Wolves when they're on form, they are incredible at collapsing when it comes round to executing and just leaving the other team completely overwhelmed. It's what's been missing for most of this week, but has really shone through in so many of their EUL matchups. For now, at least, though, let's see what Dash can get done on the Nook. Up onto the 90 rappel, where he will no doubt find himself somewhat challenged here, as there was a player just rotating through 90 a second ago, but has moved back towards safety, all inside the first 30 seconds.
Mowgli in a key position at the minute inside of games. He's going to be, inside of Aviator. He's looking to just potentially stop any push coming through from the south side. Maya is on the study balcony. I'm going to be looking to get in on the Iana there now. Then the drone just inside of Vault does not see Mowgli. So I'm not 100% sure how aware Maya is of this position, but I think he's actually dipped away from the fight. We're going to switch over to the other side of the map, just have a little look at the master push that's going on. But yeah, it's very tentative here on the south side. Maya and Mowgli just doing a little dance of death at the minute, but Maya not keen to push on in.
Well, Mowgli was unsure because he didn't know if there was a Claymore outside. He has 2 impacts of which he can clear away, but without knowing if there's one there, it's, as silly as it sounds, quite a critical bit of utility to burn if you want to try and make a play like that a little bit later into the round. For now, at least he'll hold on to them, and the longer he just sits down here on the south side, bearing in mind 90 seconds are gone, the longer we're going to have Maya being impeded.
Dash is moving through. He might just be able to find himself one here. It's the Jaeger of Bibu, and it would be a big pickup if he could take him down. But I think Bibu, that movement just maybe shows that he knows that this is coming. He's going to dip himself away. No, absolute freebie for Dash. Great play there from Lost One to get themselves that entry. Let's see now if they can follow that up with the round.
It's a good start. Bibu was almost away to safety as well. They get the second. Shinka falling down here. Mowgli naturally gets the response. Maya the one to fall this time around. A big north side focus coming in from Lost One. Then again, still work to do, but at least they are close to the site. And P4 is sat close with that shotgun in hand. There's one. Easy peasy.
So easy when you're at that close range. Mowgli manages to get another as he pushes back in towards the site, I think, finding a headshot. And there's another. Mowgli starting to pop off when Wolves need it. Can't find the kill. onto Rise, but does an awful lot of damage and leaves him on the back foot. Seriously, in this 1v2, he's going to run into the shotgun as well if he's not careful. He doesn't know which way to go. He does not find his man as the cover is there from Rise, and that is going to be 4-1 now for Wolves, and they are starting to really move ahead in this matchup.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? Mowgli again taking a round and completely turning it on its head. One matchup I'll be dying to see at some point would be Wolves coming up against Oxygen, because Nuas, we've spoken about him endlessly, right? And I know Wolves have had an up and down tournament, so you're not seeing Mowgli up there in the stats, but you cannot deny that he is one of the best talents that we currently have in the game. So for him and Nuas to go head to head, it would be a gift. An absolute gift to all who get to observe it. Would absolutely love it. Last time they played was back at the Berlin Major, actually, where they won one map each. So it's kind of an unsettled draw between the two teams that need something else to go down. Who knows, maybe we'll get that in the next couple of rounds of the tournament.
We're going to have the verticals getting opened up. It's actually Living Room Library as the final site for Wolves here, taking us on the full tour. The only site that we haven't seen so far, but they're going to give us a little look and see what they can offer. There's going to be quite a severe hold of the top floor. They're going to want to hold on to Aviator Games. If you're wanting to learn for your ranked games, where do I need to cover above for the downstairs sites on Villa? It's quite easy. It actually matches up largely to the top floor sites. So if you go in Living Room and Library, you want to be holding on to Aviator Games. If you go into Dining Kitchen, you want to hold on to Trophy and Master. It's not quite, well, it's statuary as well, but the areas line up.
I just realised, by the way, and all I just said about Wolves against Oxygen, if Wolves win this game and Oxygen win the series currently going on against M&M, where they're 1-0 up, that's the matchup.
Bracket semi-final.
On Wednesday. That would be unreal.
It would be absolutely fantastic.
All right. Let's see if Lost One can at least get something going here in their last attacking round. Otherwise, they're staring down the barrel of a 5-1, and no one wants to be in that position. I always love as well how some teams have tried to defend the upstairs here for this site, but not really made use of the vault holes. We've seen some really cool defenses actually involving Vitality. They were one of the first teams to employ this hold against BDS, who lost to it one day, came back again on Villa the next day, and brought on a Maru that can play through basement and get up through the hatch and made a plant happen inside of site. Without the side of Wolves, they're known as Vitality, even knowing what was going on.
Right, then we haven't had our opening kills. They have been a little bit slow coming of the opening kills so far on this map, tending to be Lost One using the first half or so to get themselves into a position to start pushing, to start that attack. Mowgli's got himself a bit of a battle going on here. Maya takes a lot of damage but does manage to take Shinka down, and this is looking good for Lost One at the minute. They're coming in and decimating this top floor hold. A number of kills come in, Lobin, Dash. Dash gets himself a double P4, just trying to hold back the tide with a bucket at the minute, only finding one kill along the way, 1 versus 4. He's going to need an ace to close this out as a win for Wolves, but a 4-2 half won't be the end of the world for them, I wouldn't have thought, but Lost One almost certain to get in there and find that final kill as the Gemini decoy comes around the corner. They know where P4 is now. They've got a good idea which part of the map he finds himself in, and he's going to find himself down as Dash gets the line of sight they need, and Lost One take their second round.
It's better. It's a start. It is 2 rounds on the attacking half of Villa. I think even 18 months ago, no one would have bit your hand off if you offered, well, some people would have bit your hand off if you offered that to them. So for Lost One, it's far from the end of the world. Now you really get to see them in their prime, though. They're going into, again, their favourite map on the defensive side of things. This should be where you really see what Lost One are made of. If Wolves can close things out here, though, in the next 2 or 3 rounds, you even start worrying for Lost One potentially when they fall down into the lower bracket.
You certainly will. You were actually, I think, right, Des, as well. I was just having a quick look at our schedule there.
Tell me I'm right, Tim.
You're often right, Des. I think the first upper bracket game is the upper bracket finals that would be on stage.
Because we have the 2 semi-finals on Wednesday.
Yes, so we would need another win after this one, just to correct ourselves from that.
Yeah, so on Wednesday we have lower bracket round 3, which is 2 games, and we have upper bracket semis that are also 2 games.
You get
a real good split of the 2. We aren't actually working that day, Alice. We get to sit back and watch some games.
Back and enjoy them.
I'll happily sit back and watch Oxygen and Wolves go at each other.
The first day in Place Belle on Friday, the upper bracket game that we will see that day would be the upper bracket final. So these teams will need to win here, and then they'll need one more after this, and that will get them onto the stage. So there is work to be done. But Wolves, they've closed out that first half. There's 4-2. Lost one managing to get themselves around. Haven't pulled the trigger on a tactical timeout just yet. I think they're happy to sort of see how the first couple of defensive rounds goes, because they're going to be expecting to pick a couple up here.
Whew. Okay. We start rolling, we start moving. On the Lost One side, you're looking towards this lineup and just saying it's not a big roaming-based competition here. More looking to try and keep the Wolves at bay with a lot of utility. My only concern there being is the amount of time they actually have to work with is quite surmountable. They've already got themselves working in through study, checking out what's going on downstairs. They seem to be a pretty stable setup with main stairs being held, a couple playing inside a site, one kind of wondering his way around towards 90, but as of yet, study left completely bare. Which is somewhat expected.
It is.
Can't play there, it's a death trap. Except Dots kind of is looking to hold and challenge inside. Of course, knows about the far window on the east side as well, where normally you will have a player challenging whilst one tries to work in on the south side. Easy nade from below, though, as Bibu collects one. Being challenged here, and there's two players downstairs. One in Art Studio, one on the main stairs. Good response from Lost One.
Fantastic, 1-for-1 at the minute. Dash has got an opportunity to maybe move back up red stairs if he wants to, but I think for now he's going to keep causing a nuisance on the downstairs as Wolves all stack up on this study balcony, looking to get themselves inside and looking to push forward. Dash does get himself back upstairs onto the 90 corridor. He's going to be playing just inside of the window there and looking to just prevent any control from around Vault. They don't want Vault to get opened if at all possible, if they can avoid that. Wolves do manage to aggress in here. There's going to be a freebie for Rise as he finds one, and that leaves us now in a 4 versus 3. They could think about getting into side.
I'm wondering what they do about the flank here as well, as there was one coming up main stairs. I think maybe they just got taken out actually as well. Meyer in that trade as it came on through. Dash trying to work his way through, but being challenged by every possible window. Ironically, Wolf window working in favour of Wolves here. There's one left standing. It's Lobin by himself. No C4 on side. Rise is sticking this plan down. It looks like Wolves are going to find themselves with yet another round in the books.
That is not good for Lost One. 5-2 with an attacking win for Wolves. You sort of feel like maybe Lost One were edging their bets on the defensive side, on being able to start claiming rounds and holding on. And there on their primary site, even with the opening kill, Wolves were still able to get it done. So it's really starting to look like there's just a bit of a gulf between these two teams at the minute.
Massively, yeah. Now, whether that's, I mean, Wolves are on a real high today. They're playing out of their skin. The sort of performance, again, that we see in the European League semi-regularly from them. Lost One a little bit asleep at the wheel. Lobin, I'd have to get my stats up to look at the exact numbers, but we haven't seen him come online the way that he has, and him and Meyer are kind of this duo that have really, really shone. Now, Tim, this looks like a strategy we're quite familiar with. 3 castle barricades being brought down inside of Master. No doubt a rotation coming soon into the triple wall, and then looking to have someone dancing in and out of that spot. Who's playing the Alamau spot here that we normally see coming out for G2? It could be any of them, but my money would probably be on being Meyer or Lobin. If we wanted a direct replacement, you'd say maybe Rise, given the position that normally he plays in for this team, but it could also be Dash playing on the Ella.
5 seconds to go.
Okay then, let's get into round 8 and see if Lost One have got anything here that they can hold on with, because if not, they're going to be in serious trouble. Honestly, I think if Wolves, this is a swing round for me. It's one of those rounds. It might not be enough for Lost One to win this one, but I feel like if they don't, I can't see Wolves losing things. If they get themselves onto map point and have 4 opportunities to close it out, that means that Lost One are going to have to successfully defend weak sites for themselves statistically, and it's going to be a big problem.
It is. To hear the full burn from Wolves coming in, with most of them working their way up through study, does mean there's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of players potentially to clear away. Meyer's the one holding up on the dock as well, an operator that he has played through an awful lot of this competition, mainly on border, to be honest with you. It's where we've seen him picking it up, but understandably, why wouldn't you want to pick it elsewhere? Lobin getting a little bit cheeky down to the window and finding Rise. That's the Zofia off the board, so the range soft destruction no longer available for the side of Wolves. P4 also looking to dance on a challenge up towards 90, so hoping to catch him out, but it's simply not going to happen as Meyer brings down Mowgli as well. The 2 big players from last map are off the board, Tim.
P4 just creeping into the smoke there. He's going to see his man, doesn't quite get the opportunity quickly enough to be able to take him down. Bibu working from the window, and you just feel that the pressure is really starting to mount on to Lost One a little bit. Even though they're in a 3v5, it's every move they make. There seems to be an ADS looking at them, but they just need to hold on for a little bit longer. You feel if they can hold on for another 30 seconds or so, then that execute is going to start looking pretty difficult for Wolves, but they're just happy to hold their positions. First kill comes in. That's important for Maya, though. Getting that direct trade leaves us now in a 4 versus 2, and you just feel if that kill could have been clean for P4, maybe they could have done something, but absolutely not. Lost One, they just pile on top of that kill, get themselves around, and that was so important for them to take round 8. Brings it back to 5-3.
This is the danger now. Starting to see a little bit of gas being injected into the Lost One side. In case you're wondering what that message was, Bibu said nice shot, and Lobin said thanks.
You love to see the mutual respect. These players...
Yeah, it's not Wolves versus G2. Come on, let's be real.
Not quite, no. You know, in the majority of cases, even in the games that you see where there's the banter going backwards and forwards, there's the shout.
You know what it makes you think of? You know, the number of times you've seen teams like giving it large and they walk around and shake hands and say,
yeah,
well played, well played. You ever seen the like gif of the two dogs that are at a gate go at each other? The gate slides open, they both just stop and fall silent, look at each other like very chill dogs. Then it recloses again and they start barking and going mental. It reminds me of that every single time.
The thing is, you know, at the end of the day, they spend a lot of time playing, you know, playing games against each other, and it's not personal at the end of the day. They're all there to win. You know, and if they think they can get a little bit of an edge by shouting over the top of the screen at the other team and, you know, things like that, then they'll do it. They'll go for it. But ultimately, they can all appreciate a good bit of skill from the other team as well.
I didn't hear this earlier on, but apparently during G2's timeout when Wolves played against them, Bibu was just screaming for the first 20 seconds of the timeout. So I imagine all G2 could really hear is just Bibu going, woo, and a bunch of other French words that I can't.
I mean, that's one technique, I guess.
I mean, I'm all for it.
I think that's where the noise cancelling comes in. They do have headphones to
yeah, but you might suppose we'll pick up some noise.
They do have a little bit to take out some of that outside noise, but like you say, I'm sure that it does bleed through as well. Lobin's going to be looking to get aggressive in master bedroom there. He's just pushing onto concrete, going to use an impact nade to take out a drone. He knows he's going to be pushed through bathroom. Time for him to get away, and that's exactly what he will try to do. Takes a little bit of damage. Over the balcony he goes, so he will live to fight another day. P4 takes a shot along the way as he goes, and that leaves us still 5v5, but an early exchange in round 9.
Evolving to the rapid aggression that comes out of Wolves, I think, is absolutely paramount if they're going to win this game. We've seen back in the first round of Clubhouse, 2 or 3 players being caught out on the main stage, retreat back down to basement because Wolves were just there when they were not expecting them to be. Thought they had more time, more seconds remaining until they'd start getting bullets coming their way, but it simply wasn't to be the case. Here, at least he has got away a bit more safely. Lobin almost being taken out as Mowgli is looking for his man, expecting a repeat, but nope. Lobin's going to dash away, having lost half his HP, wants to keep himself on the field.
Pretty calm so far in this round. It's just waiting for that goal point when Wolves feel they're in a position to push forward. They're currently trying to get the information here. Lost One, just try and see exactly where this is coming from. It's going to be Mowgli to take Lobin out to begin with. The one big question mark that I've got is, are Wolves aware of Dash down in basement? He's holding himself on the red stairs at the minute, and his timing could be crucial in this round. 1 minute, 10 seconds to go. You worry about the action on screen. We'll keep an eye on Dash, and we'll see if that flank is going to come off later in the round. But for now, P4, they're pushing into 90.
It's also the question of whether or not there's a flank drone down there watching the red corridor. You probably expect it, and they'd see him make the move, but it's all about that timing you just saw. There we go. Up here on the rail, they know exactly what's going on, which means he's dead to right, surely. No response yet as Dots brings down Bibu, and Maya gets the second, decimating the 90 assault.
Dots actually getting the man from inside a sight there, and that's really good teamwork from Lost One. Just managing to do that now, then a direct trade. That's not ideal for Wolves. It leaves them in a 2v3 that could have been a 3v3. Mowgli's looking to push inside a sight. Can't find the first as Dots. He's had a big round, and we'll come back to that. Second kill for him, taking down Mowgli, and it's now all up to Rise. 20 seconds left to go, and no option but to get aggressive here. He needs to go in and just find himself a couple of kills. No diffuser in hand. It's unlikely. Oh no, it was there, just in place for him to be able to connect. Shinka must have dropped it at the top of red, but 10 seconds left to go. He's being challenged from 90, he's being challenged from sight. He's being challenged from everywhere, and that's another good round for Lost One. 4-5 now, and Dots needs to take a bow on that. It'd be easily missed, but a couple of big kills from him, particularly to protect Dash. Bibu left himself stood in the open with the confidence that he knew Dash was coming. Dots, however, steps out, protects his man, and gets the kill to the top of red.
Mas tem estátua pra ir? Tem, não. Não, é banheiro...
Só embaixo.
Só de baixo.
Biblioteca ou cozinha?
Cozinha é aquela caçada deles pas. Je vais prendre avec Choumo.
Les gars, faut pas encore hésiter à se parler, prendre son temps. Là, genre, celle d'avant, on peut l'éviter 100%. Yanis avait un free kill touché par en bas et vous n'êtes pas parlé, tu vas sauter dessus. Ok, vous traînez, mais vous pouvez peut-être à mort.
qui tenait en bas.
Ouais, allez, c'est pas grave.
Next.
Là, juste dans la com, bien sur des points de vue simples. On sait faire, on l'a fait juste après.
Exact, c'est vraiment ça, c'est juste des plans de jeu.
C'est mort comment là, les patients?
Moi, en la vérité, on s'en fout, moi.
Now we go from a tack pause into a technical timeout to get a couple of things rectified, Tim. It's at that point now where I'm feeling that inflection point where Lost One are starting to win rounds, and this is when it gets a little bit concerning for Wolves. If Lost One can battle their way back in here, build some momentum on the defensive side of Villa, they go into Oregon, which is their second most popular map. They love playing on that map, real high preference for it. Yeah. Do Wolves then really start to see this one slip away?
Well, you know, I've often said this about the momentum that can be carried from winning the second map. If you have to go to 3, I feel it's better generally to win the second map because you're the one that's carrying that positivity through. I will say I think Lost One have got a lot of work to do yet before we start thinking about map 3. They've got themselves back-to-back rounds. That is a big point for them. I dare say I will check map 1. They certainly haven't had back-to-back rounds before this point on Villa. Let me just check when we have a look at Clubhouse whether that was the case. No, they didn't have back-to-back rounds on Clubhouse, so up to this point they've only actually won one round at a time, so just getting one back-to-back is going to be big for them, and maybe that can be a little bit of a turning point, a building block for them to start working from. But yeah, I think they need this next round. I wouldn't like to see Lost One 6-4 down. I think they need to level it up here so they're not facing too many map points. But Wolves have certainly, I won't say dropped off, I'm not going to get that critical of them, but I think it's more Lost One have had the answers over the last couple of rounds.
Well, the big one here to note is that this is basically a mirror of what we saw in the first half. Fourth round of the second half is exactly the same as fourth round of the first, in that it's a dining and kitchen defense, the first of its kind. Lost One, I think I'm with you, really need to be able to break that one-round winning curse here. They've got to be able to get a couple on the back. That brings us up to 5-5, and suddenly it's Wolves that then start to sweat a little bit.
Okay then, Lobin going to be setting up with the Capcan. We've seen a lot of positive impact from the Capcans, to be honest,
loads
so far at Six Invitational. It's always going to test the information gathering of the team that you're playing against, and we've seen kills, we've seen downs, we've seen damage done from those EDD devices that Capcan puts out, so it's been certainly a worthwhile pick so far on the defence.
It has. And the thing also, the fact that for a lot of teams really like his gun is the main reason why pros tend to pick it up. C4 on side as well never really helps, plus a bunch of gadgets that are fantastic for time wasting is another big one.
Rise, just hunting down those gadgets, hunting down the drones, seeing what he can find. Not going to be any for the time being. Looking at the side, they've actually got 9 drones left on side, which is pretty good going to say that they're up against the Solis at the minute. You would expect that to be lower. Rise on the side of Wolves manages to get a kill onto Maya, and that is a great opener.
Looking for some more on the back of that as well, though, for sure. If Wolves can bring it up to 6-4 here, it really does start to crush the spirits a little bit of the other side. Trying to isolate this one player that's sat behind bar here as well. Rise knows exactly where he is. Drone's helping things out as well, but that's been taken down too. How many more can they commit? Apparently not a lot is the answer, as Rise has been taken down by Lobin. He was the one looking to push in towards bar, and with that now being shut down, well, they're in for a war to hurt. Rise cannot be moved. He'll hold here for a little bit longer, and now Wolves have to be ever present and ever thoughtful of the thought of a backstab.
Certainly do. Like you say, you can.
Unless Mowgli can just
as the
swing
defender,
for a
he
win.
can just sit there all day. He doesn't need to move.
Just
He
hit
just take a little bit of damage on the spray through the wall there, but unable to find his man. Surely he comes back and gets the kill. Yes, he does. Great play from the Solis. Can we find another? Yes! Takes down P4. Beautiful double from Rise. And what damage it has done to the attack of Wolves. Bibu able to get in and get that trade, but it still leaves them in a 2v3, and they haven't even started approaching sight.
They haven't, no. I've really got to give Rise a shout out, by the way, as in the Rise for Lost One rather than Rise for Wolves. But Rise on Lost One have since played so many different defensive operators, whether it's being more aggressive on the Solis, out and about around the map, or playing far more defensive on things like Mute. So far, he's shown real versatility. You know, again, playing that kind of role that we see Alamal doing for G2, with the ability to play between really aggressive things like Twitch, all the way to more passive supportive operators depending on the map. And these players that play a lot of flex roles are the ones who are kind of determined to be, you know, the unlucky one on the team. They've got to play the things that no one else wants to. Rise does that, yet still puts up really good numbers quite consistently too. Really impressive player.
Dash is just holding his line underneath before striking with a headshot onto Bibu. Shinka taking half health damage there as well, leaving us now in a short finish for Lost One as they level things up 5v5. And Des, it looks like they might just have activated.
May well have just. Definitely on their way to it. I mean, that 5-5 scoreline, as we said, is a dangerous one. 6-4, maybe you're thinking Wolves can just about get it over the line. At 5-5, I'm convinced we're seeing at the very least overtime, if not potentially that third map with a 7-5 scoreline.
I'd agree with you. I'm not sure that Wolves can find the attacks at this point. We're going to see them trying to mix up their operator selection a little bit. We'll see if that sticks. No, it does not. Bibu, it was Bibu I was looking at as well. They do have the fuse on Shinka, which is one change at least, but Bibu on the Blackbeard was another interesting prospect. We're actually going to see both of those picks switched out, with the fuse switching out to a much more regular Dokkaebi pick. So that will leave us with that. Rise is bringing along the castle on the defensive side, so that's an interesting one to note. It is in trophy statuary, so not drastically unusual. We would expect to see some of those applied out in master bedroom to prevent too much of a line of sight being gained in through the sort of half windows that are there, and maybe a little bit over to Wolf window as well sometimes, just to prevent that direct line into sight.
Let's see how we shape up on trophy and statuary. Similar lineup once again, by the way, Tim, with that castle coming in. Looking to commit that out towards the... Are we going to call it the Alimal hold at this point?
You see, for us in EU...
A lot of LATAM teams do it.
For us in EU, Alamau's sort of... He's earned that position.
So how well he plays it, right?
But we haven't seen it on an international scale yet, so I feel like we might need to hold off on an international level until he does it.
All right, then. We won't call it the Alamal hold so far, but it'll get towards being that if things carry on the way they are for G2. Mowgli working his way straight in, and look at that. Straight ready to go out the door. Rise once again impressing. Catching one out and has got the support of his teammate to back into.
Taking a lot of damage, but he won't mind that at all. By removing the Finker, you've also removed those nano health boosts that can come into the rest of the team, so that is a big pickup to begin with. And P4 just going in without information. Des, Wolves look like they lost at sea here. Dash getting an absolute freebie from Red Stairs, and this is a world away from the team that we saw on Clubhouse that was so good with their information. They were so good at knowing everything that was ahead of them, and it just doesn't look like the case for Wolves on Villa.
Doesn't feel like they're in control, does it? You know, Matt really having a swing here for Lost One, who are showing real prowess on the defensive side, expected from the best map they've got. Rise have no idea what's going on. The real painful thing there is, Tim, he had a drone going in front of him, but they still didn't spot the player in behind the bar. Just feels like they're hiding in the walls at this point and taking down members of Wolves for free. Rise still dug in. Flash is coming in, and surely his days are numbered here. Won't find anything, gets finished off, but the damage has been done. Wolves are in a 2 versus 4.
Shinka getting his kill, but like you say, probably just a little bit too late inside this round. Bibu, he's working into what is going to be the line of sight for somebody on the side of Lost One as he tries to get himself inside of statuary. He's getting the yellow ping there, but it's going to be old information. I think it's not current. There is nobody sat on that position. Shinka's trying to support with the push into trophy at the same time, but you just feel like Wolves' days are numbered here as the pressure is going to mount from Lost One. 45 seconds, and ultimately there's going to come a point that Wolves need to take that step into sight. They need to take that push forward, and as you can see, as they do, it's just bullet after bullet. Bibu, he manages to find one nice headshot onto Maya. 35 seconds left to go.
Alone with the naughty little one-tap onto Shinka, who took up the spot that Bibu was in. Tucks one into towards Bibu's leg as well. Down a half HP against 3. Tim, it feels like that 6-5 scoreline is upon us. Lost One might be able to close things out 7 and 5 here.
Very possibly. It's a matter of time before Bibu pushes into sight. That's exactly what he's going to do there. And you just feel, there you go, final kill comes in. Lost One, they get themselves the map point opportunity.
Ooh, what a turnaround.
It's fantastic.
Oregon's going to be really exciting. Assuming, of course, we get there, things can still go crazy and go to overtime here. But this confidence that's being shown is the kind of stuff I'm used to seeing out of Lost One, that we've enjoyed all week long, is not being scared of getting up in a gunfight. And again, so much of this has come down to Rise and the way that he plays.
Você é o Arden, não vai ser você. Tá. Por causa que a Gridlock vai smocar Neymar, se ela for rushar lá, e você vai impedir isso. Mas de qualquer jeito, se não for o rush, vai ser bom estar em você. Tá? Fica atento com isso. Você
Meloso padrão. Beleza, fechou.
Aí você vai ficar ligeiro pra você marcar a marcação com o dodge, você vai maquete. Pra maquete, o quê?
É, a primeira porta-cofre. Aí entrou no bomba, é a primeira porta-cofre.
Isso. Foca nessa tensão do anti-rush, tá, guys? Mesmo assim, se for pro overtime qualquer coisa, a gente mantém fazendo esse estilo de defesa, é um anti-rush total.
Tá, beleza.
Ataque já tem tudo setado, você já sabe o que fazer.
Beleza.
E é devagar agora.
Vai pro caralho, porra.
Esse cara tá Pô, ele tá faltando o capricho dele, mano. O cara tomou meio, o cara tomou errado, tá? Os caras estão...
O cara veio do drone.
Os caras, mano...
I was trying to determine if I feel this timeout was a bit of a mistake. The momentum's with you. You've won 2 rounds on the bounce now. You've really, you know, putting Wolves to the board here and putting them to challenge. And what you've just done is given them 45 seconds to figure out how they're going to force this through to overtime. Not that it massively matters, because Lost One will start on the defense in overtime. It was their map pick, therefore they get to choose where they start in overtime. But I just feel you're giving them a way back in.
Yeah, I'd agree. It is strange timing when you've got that round. Obviously, Lost One, you know, they've had to fight to get there, so I can appreciate them feeling like they just need to sort of solidify what's going on, just sort of cement their approach, you know, just let things sort of settle and simmer. But at the same time, like you say, they've just given that length of time to Wolves as well, as a free tactical timeout, essentially. You know, I think the way I would look at that is if you said to Wolves, you can have a free tactical timeout now if you want, would they take it? And I think the answer is yes, they would take it every time. So by doing that, you're gifting them that. So I think, yeah, they might have been better just sort of continuing and trying to keep that momentum and push forward before Wolves could really think too much about it. Now then, a triple cap can cut.
You don't see that every day.
I don't see it too often.
They do 60 damage apiece, which means you won't kill a 3-speed operator with just the 2. Sometimes I've seen them do downs onto like two armor operators. So they really want to make sure whoever steps through is dead, Tim.
Dash has played this position quite often on the lower red stairs towards basement, and it's something I'd like Wolves to pick up on. They thought they were going to deal with it last time with Bibu at the top of red stairs, but Dot stepped out and had the cover of his teammate from inside a site. So it's definitely something that I feel that they need to deal with, maybe clear from basement up and just make sure that they've either forced him back to site or got the kill, but definitely not something they can ignore again.
No, calls potentially coming in as well from Shinka. There we go. Out it comes, just to try and force them that little step further back. A C4 onto the hatch of all places, Tim.
Bibu manages to open things up onto Maya. Good start for Wolves. Dots, however, is going big again. He's had some really important moments. His stats might not quite show it. He's not got the most kills on the side, but he's certainly had some vital ones. And that is another one just to break the momentum that Wolves might have been building off the back of that opening kill from Bibu. Leaves us 4 versus 4.
Dots is a really interesting player because although he's currently lowest rated on the team, it's not that massive a variance. 0.94 to 1.09. Dots at the bottom, Lobin at the top. He's positive on entry. 13 and 10 he's on as a support player as well. So getting pulled into a good number of fights, admittedly, across the whole of SI so far. Is negative on KD, which is why he's a little bit lower, but has again made himself known in some of these games, especially when it comes around to fragging out. Bibu, though, putting one more in the ground. Down goes Lobin, who, as we said several times, has really struggled this series.
Going to have Bibu trying to find a nade from underneath. He's got a little bit of information, but certainly not enough. The challenge is going to come potentially through that hole he's just opened up. Dot steps up to it, but not going to be able to find his man. Out goes a Toxic Babe canister, though, and he continues the work to try and find that vertical angle onto Bibu. It's 4 versus 3, and Wolves have still got an opportunity to take us to overtime. You feel like the next kill is going to be a vital one.
100%. It's about moving forward and thinking about this execute now in these final 30 seconds. They've got control. Mowgli has established himself inside of sight, but they know they see the barrel of the gun and gets put in the dirt as well. It's one per side so far. Dot's in such a critical position here to hold back the aggressors. Oh, and there it is.
In comes that kill. Rise is going to be looking to... Sorry, Shinka manages to get the kill onto Dots. Dash is the last one alive. Shinka is going to be getting that diffuser down. Bibu's going to be on the cover. He is low health. There is an opportunity for Dash potentially, but he can't get in time. Shinka not only plants, but finds the final kill. And Dez, we are going to overtime.
I love how much that saying is suddenly spread as well. Apparently W7M was saying it earlier.
I know.
Overtime! Apparently very Brazilian meets Mancunian.
It blows my mind, it really does. I just say these silly little things and it seems that people enjoy them. I love it.
People from Burnley just sound funny, mate.
I love it.
Burnley.
That's not how we say it.
That's how you sound.
Absolutely not.
There's always this little, like, twists on certain letters.
I always find it funny that I can say things and people repeat it back to me differently as if that's what I've said. And that time specifically is one, of course. If I say Burnley, people go, "Oh, Burnley!" I'm like, well, no, I didn't say that, did I?
You did, though. I heard no difference in those two words.
I just said Burnley.
Burnley.
There you go, that's fine.
But you had like...
that's not how you said it the first time.
Yeah, but the first time you said laser gates, it was really emphasised.
Yeah, it was, to be fair.
And that's what I've latched onto, and so is the rest
And
of
I tell you what, Des, if I could go back, I'd do it exactly.
And I would not ask you to change a thing, Tim. As said here in overtime, lost one start on the defensive side. They get two swings of the bat. Wolves are going to have to try and find their way through, assuming, of course, it goes all the way to 15. Another thing that Tim loves to say. Wolves may well crack it here on the attacking side and then win in their next defensive round, in which case it's done and dusted. And that second defensive round advantage that Lost One have, it's forgotten about, and Oregon awaits us round the corner. All I can say is, Tim, is I truthfully have no idea which way these next 3 rounds can go.
No, I don't.
Except someone will win. That's about the only known end.
I expect Lost One to come out on top. The defenders have had the advantage, as we do often expect for Villa. They went for... What a jump out. He's not going to go back to confirm it. Lobin going to take damage there. Wolves
I love it. I love it.
Massively got away with this, Des. What a swing. It looked like Lobin was going out of the window to a guaranteed kill. Slightly misses the headshot. P4 gets picked back up. Lobin's in the dirt, and we're in a 5v4.
I spoke about this a few rounds ago. It's one thing I don't think Lobin has really adapted too well to, is Wolves are so fast at capitalising on opportunities. They see a player out of position, they'll pounce on them. Lobin has had this time and time again where even when he's found the entry kill, there's been 2 or 3 players from Wolves ready to cover for the player that he's killed to get the trade back on the other side. In most cases, you'd still say, fine, it's still an advantage over really to the attackers, to the defenders. They've killed an attacker off, great. But now, as you've seen, he's died so early on. They've got the full hack on all of these cameras, including the bulletproof, which means we're going to see Lost One have to go through and kill off all of their friendly cameras.
Dash is moving himself back into study just to try and keep a bit of pressure on that side of things, but at the minute there's nothing coming from Wolves on that side of the map. It is all north sided. It's going to be trying to get control over 90, maybe open Vault up if they can get Rise in there, and an ultimate plant inside of Map's door. 1 minute 20 left to go. Wolves have got the time here. They don't need to rush. They can make sure that everything is clear ahead of them. Finally, Mowgli is going to move down onto the south side. He's going to be the one looking to just to try and apply a bit of pressure there. They're going to shoot out the top of the wall. Over goes the nade. That'll clear out the mute jammer and activate the Selmas. So that is the vault opened up and dealt with, as we can see. And this is good from Wolves so far, Des.
One on the window as well. P4 tucks himself away, joined by Vibu. They're really trying to put a lot of pressure here on 19 in towards Vault. The next focus, though, really should be the side door. Map's door here specifically now going to be the big focus for them, as they've got good pressure that forces most of Lost One out of playing around Vault. It's going to be a massive risk if they step inside there, because, again, the player that's on the 90 repel just gets a lovely free angle through.
Yeah, the one problem that they've got at the minute in thinking of planting is how do they stop the player pushing out of Vault. Rise has just gone over to Study side to try and assist with that. They really could do with somebody inside of Study, but at the minute Dash is preventing that. We're going to have kills coming in either way. That's really important from Mowgli. He's going to allow a plant. That is a big moment. It's all up to Maya fighting his way back in, but Bibu shuts him down in Study, and that is going to be a great attack from Wolves. I love how we saw that unfold, Des, just tackling piece by piece of the puzzle that was in front of them until they're in a position to get that diffuser down, and ultimately Wolves, they take a big advantage on Villa, and they now now have one defense available to close this out and win in 2 maps.
That's exactly it, right? They get to go on the defense here. That's the big one. And I'm guarantee you, if they can avoid Oregon, they'll take it every single day of the week. Why would you want to play out a third map and show even more of your map pool here? I mean, map pool, with it being a decider, you might argue is one of their weaker maps, but they'll take it anyway. Let's see how they hold down, because for Lost One, you've got to feel a little bit rattled by this now. You've been battled back on your own map choice right down to the breaking point. You lose one more round. This one in particular, you're down to the lower bracket.
This is it. The way to look at the upper bracket sometimes is it's like you've got that extra life, Des. You know, you've got that one loss that you can take and still continue in the tournament, but the sooner you lose it, the sooner you don't have that opportunity anymore. And they'll be seeing the loser play again, of course, as you say, in that lower bracket, after we've had our first round of lower bracket games tomorrow, which we're going to be seeing come into play. Now then, this could be our last round. Wolves could tie this up 8-6. It's round 14. We've got Lost One on the attack. We saw them first time around for the first couple of rounds try to get aggressive, Des, try to push their way into site quickly. I'm wondering, are they going to take that sort of risk again, or is it going to be a more safe approach?
Do you really want to like roll the dice on a big hit on site?
Me, you've got to make sure of it.
But can you afford to play it slow when the more space you give to players like Mowgli, the more they just delete you one by one? It's really hard.
Certainly a rock and a hard place, it really is.
Well, they've got to make it work, and that's the kind of start you're looking for. Get Mowgli off the board. He's been absolutely fragging out. All that's really left now is raid boss Bibu.
That's it. That's a great start for them. I think, you know, if they could have chosen to take anybody off the board, he certainly would have been up there at the top of the list. Dash is just going to be working on study window now onto balcony, so he's going to be the one to try and push in from the south side. Lobin's got himself onto the north side, and Wolves, they need to be careful. We might be seeing a complete flip reversal here, Des, where overtime, rather than going to the defenders, actually goes to the attackers.
It's looking to go that way, isn't it? Once again, you've got Dash playing by himself. Commented on the Twitch early on. 2 shock drones, 2 normal drones, smokes. A very good utility operator to have, even though historically maybe you look at Twitch and say, well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Rise being taken down by the nade. Not finished off, but is on his backside. Should have room to get picked up here as well as he crawled in towards the vault. But still, down to just a slither of HP, a single bullet enough to put him in an early grave.
Well, it's not ideal for Wolves at the minute. They've got very little going for them. They haven't opened up their account of kills in this round. They've still got 5 attackers coming to find them. There's plenty of time left on the board at 1 minute 10. They've got big problems here. They're being pressured from all
the nades.
Nades are going in. It might just be enough.
Beautiful.
It does find the kill onto Rise to finish him off. There's no way that he can get to safety. 3 versus 5. Diffuser going down. Kills raining in. This is going to be a flawless round if they're not careful. Bibu manages to get 1, but that is all. And Lost One, they take us all the way, Des. We're going to 15.
Slow and steady appears to be the answer there, Tim. Didn't all try and blitz their way in, just sniffed out what was going on, found some beautiful kills, the nade as well, coming in through Vault, the sort of one that you want there to finish off the already injured Rise. The first one won't do it, the second one will do the job plenty fine. All the way up to 15, as you say. Wolves on the attack, Lost One on the defense. We're heading in towards Trophy and Statuary, Tim, and that means we're going to see again the castle hold of this site.
Who has any idea what who has any idea what's going to happen here? Because you've got a situation where the attackers have all of a sudden started winning in overtime.
Yep.
We expected the defence to be more solid than it has been.
Yep.
Both of them have lost defences, so you might argue that puts Wolves on the front foot, given that they've now got the attack. But that said, through our regulation time, it was 8 defensive wins to 4 attacking wins, so you would expect there to be an advantage for Lost One, and that it isn't likely that Wolves will string back-to-back successful attacks together. This is honestly anybody's. You know, reminder of the stakes. If Lost One win this, we continue on. We go to our decider, which is Oregon. If Wolves win this, then they will win in 2 maps. They will head through to that upper bracket semi-final, and they will really power themselves into the remainder of the tournament.
You get to play in Plaspel?
Yes.
That's what everyone's here for, really. Forget the money. Playing in Plaspel, it's the hallowed halls, the spiritual ground of Siege.
Yep. Well, this is it. Even if they lose the upper bracket semi, the lower bracket game they drop into is played at Plaspel. So
very exciting.
One way or another.
One of the first. We might even end up casting it actually.
I'm not
It's
sure.
one of our first games on Thursday.
I'm not sure what we're casting.
I think it's the very first game on Thursday. Friday. Sorry, we've got. Okay. Which should be fun. I checked the schedule.
If we do, then make sure you get in early.
Yeah. Everyone will be out getting breakfast. And make sure you're in for that one. It's not one to be missed. All right, let's focus on this last round, though, and see what happens. Maya, once again, back on that dock. Spoke about it a few times. An operator that he really enjoys playing. Seen it across border an awful lot. Now also here on Villa. 200 HP heal coming through as well. Means Lobin can be a little more risky and daring if he wants to be, as we so often see. But here we go. WOL charging in off the back of a smoke, coming through onto the open hole of the double wall. Maya juicing himself back up, maybe expecting a swing. Sure enough, a bit of a swing comes in. Oh no, it's a friendly C4. Back on his own feet, though, and finally finished off. It could not have gone more wrong for the dock.
Nope, Mowgli taking him down, leaving us now with a second kill. Mowgli is really stepping up when they need him to. Shinka's going to be taken down inside a sight, but guess who's there, Des? It's Mowgli. He's going to be traded out, but the damage might be done. 3 kills have already come in from him. 1 minute 30 left to go. We find ourselves in a 2 versus 2, and we will likely see things slow down a little bit after a real explosion of action in the first half of this round.
Well, now you've got duos on the go, right? 2 versus 2 with 1 minute and 30 to play. It feels like a shortened round of Siege. And looking at the utility, Lobin is down low on HP. The attackers have still got everything. They've got drones, they've got frag grenades, you name it.
Bibu versus Dash. We've got 16 kills versus 15 kills. We've got big numbers left on the board, and we've got good support players alongside them. And this is the moment where somebody will claim a bit of glory. Bibu just checking those drones. They're looking for any sniff of information they can get. They're confident. They're wanting to go in for the challenges. Bibu's going to try and send a nade over the top here. Not going to let go of it just yet.
Caught out, he let go, but it got caught out by the Wamai magnet, so it's a bit stuck there and not able to get on through. Bibu taking a little bit of a chip as Dash takes a bit of damage here as well. We're down to the last 35 seconds, and I'll go back to Clubhouse, Tim, when Wolves really slowed down with 90 seconds on the clock and ended up losing due to time. Look at this rat play. He's on the floor. He's like a snake, slithering his way forward, and in comes the plan as well. Lobin, to keep his team in the upper bracket, has got to find these 2 kills. Volts over the side, trying to get the impact in below, but will not find anyone. That plant's going down whether he likes it or not.
Smart play from P4. As soon as that impact goes off, he knows that they've missed the mark. He knows he has an opportunity to get it down. Lobin won't know how unlucky he was there not to find his man. P4 taken down to half health, and Lobin, he's got 2 kills to find. He's looking for the diffuser. He knows where it is located on the ground, but he's going to have to find some kills here. There is no way he gets away with long arm in this. He's thinking about it, but he just can't get close enough. The position of the plant is good. He has to make a challenge, and surely the kill comes in here to take Lost One out of it, and it is going to be P4 to finish things off, and Wolves are successful after a difficult start at 6 Invitational 2023. They beat Lost One in 2 maps and go through to the upper bracket semi-final.
How much that means to Rise already, that they're going through to plus now. What a day to have a performance like that. That one from him was unreal, but the whole team have looked absolutely electric. All I pray for now is that this carries on into Blackspell.
You love to see it, the passion. You can see everything that it means to that team. The emotion pouring out. That should tell you how hard they have worked to turn around their LAN performances and their LAN fortunes, and they've done it. They feel like they've broken that seal, and they are showing us the best that Wolves have to offer. And there's, I'm here for it. I love to see it because they've looked fantastic. It's been entertaining, Siege. Commiserations, of course, to Lost One. They will continue in the lower bracket yet. There is more chances for them, but they didn't, I think, show us their best today, and I'm sure they're going to kick themselves for that because we know they've got more to offer.
It's still a relatively young team, let's not forget as well. You come up against a lot of experience there. For Rise, again, we spoke about the emotion already, but let's not forget him, Lilu, several other